Consumers want to know the facts about the products they buy, but America's agricultural landscape is not easy to navigate. Between different companies, scientific advancement, government regulations, advertisement campaigns, and an unhealthy amount of myth and misconception, anyone would be hard-pressed to make sense of it. That's where Real Ag comes in. From the producers who make your food, to the store where you buy the final product, and everything in between. This is Real Ag. Now, here's your host, Kyle Bauer.
Kansas agricultural producers are realizing the benefits of allowing tourists to participate in a rural lifestyle. Agritourism attracts visitors with outdoor recreation, activities, and educational experiences, as well as a boost to the local economy. We'll visit a couple of unique operations on this edition of Real Ag.
Production of Real Ag is made possible by
the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by farmers.
What is agritourism?
Well, it's brought the city folks to the rural area. Ag, of course, that's the rural area, and the tourism is bringing them city folks and out-of-state folks in here. In fact, I mean, we get a lot of them here. Kansas City is really our #1 spot. We get a lot of people. It's a good day trip for them overnight and go back. We had 2 families from Texas up here, which was really interesting last night. And one family from clear down at Brownsville, Texas, they drove up here. They wanted to do something. They're going to Derby for Thanksgiving, but went from our place down to Branson, Missouri, and back to Derby, Kansas. So I thought that's pretty unique, and they come just to come to the bed and breakfast in the exotic farm.
Agritourism is using entertainment, drawing people to your farm using agricultural related activities, things that are on our farm. It draws people who aren't necessarily informed about agriculture to your location, and it's a great learning tool. We have a lot of schools that come out. They'll bring their field trips out to either the corn maze or the pumpkin patch or both. And we do a lot of education involved with those. We
can open our doors to more city people with the agritourism. I think we have to have something really to offer. I don't think we can all have the same thing to sell. I think wheat harvest, corn harvest, cattle production, but I think you have to gear it. Fortunately, I was born and raised in the entertainment business, so it's easier for me than it would be for a lot of people to know how to entertain the people when they come to your facilities. And you have to have something, there that will keep them there for a while and keep them interested, enthusiastic, and so you can't just maybe put them on a combine and run around the field just a little bit. I think you have to have a program that really spans across the whole wheat harvest and the wheat planting and the combine and the tractors, and there's people very interested in that type of stuff.
How did your business venture get started?
My dad was a rodeo clown, and so I don't ever remember that. My memory's not that bad, but I was so little when I helped him with his first acts at the rodeos, with a trick horse or a mule or a Brahma bull, and so I grew up through that. So we just kept expanding a little more, and I started getting some off-the-wall animals to train: guanaco, which is a cousin of llama, a buffalo, a chimpanzee, a zebra, and I kept adding to it, and we got quite a few animals. And then churches and schools would say, "Could you bring some animals here or there?" And so we would, take them out, and we kept collecting more animals. Not necessarily collecting, but raising more animals and adding to our numbers and varieties. And we've through the years we've added and subtracted. Some animals don't fit in our operation here or on the road, So we try to maintain the animals that we are really comfortable with, that we really know, we really understand, that we can present well. And so it's just grown, and the family's helping me. We have a lot of good employees here on the farm. We have 7 people that never leave the farm, just take care of the animals here on the farm. And being licensed, and that's another thing with agritourism, we all have to be licensed properly and insured properly. That's really important, and follow all the rules and regulations we have.
For us personally, it was a way to bring us back to the farm. 20 years ago, when we started this, we all had outside jobs trying to support our families. but we weren't really happy living in the cities or wherever we were at. So we felt this would be a great way that we could come back home, come back to the farm, and make a living doing that. It was just something that was an idea we thought we'd try for 1 year. At that time, in 1999, was our first maze, and we didn't have any idea what to expect. We had known of other mazes outside of Kansas, and as far as we know, we were the first ones to start this in Kansas. So we didn't have any idea what to expect, whether we would get even 100 people out there. And it just exceeded our expectations, and just has continued to grow from there.
What government agencies do you deal with for licensing?
USDA is who we're licensed under with the animals, but you know, we have Food and Health that comes in and checks us. You know, the housing, the EPA, just quite a few different levels of it with the government. I did try to do, especially on the bed and breakfast, the facilities. I got Hutchinson's zone or building code, and we built it according to Hutchinson's building code, so it's very secure and. I bring the fire department out in once in a while, or rural fire department, and go through the facilities to, and that's another area that we're inspected, the fires, you know, they come and inspect our facilities. But I bring the rural guys out, and we run fire hoses out here just in case there was something come up that, you know, they knew how to handle it.
Do exotic animals require special veterinary care?
We have Dr. Randolph at the Sterling Vet Clinic. He's our overall veterinarian, and here local, I mean, when the animals on the farm is not an issue, but when we travel, I mean, we even go to Hawaii, and so we have to have a lot of testing done and a lot of paperwork to do to go to the other states even, you know. But Dr. Randolph, his dad started with me back in the beginning and knew nothing about exotics, and but I made a lot of connections early on that I could call people and veterinarians across the United States that maybe had experienced this or that, and now that it's much easier because there's so many more exotics around. My staff, we do a lot of the, I mean, we do all the inoculations, the worming. We just can't do anything that has to have a state license. And you know, we might have to have a cesarean on an animal, and of course Scott, you know, Dr. Randolph comes in on that. But the maintenance of the animals, we do all of that. The state of Hawaii, though, passed new legislation that they can't take exotics into Hawaii anymore. So we still take a petting zoo, but it's all domestic farm animals. We take, you know, different breeds of calves, of course the sheep and the goats. The most exotic we take would be like an alpaca or a llama. But yeah, we take them over on a boat. There's a lot of logistics on doing those kind of jobs like that, and so you plan way ahead. You know, you don't just wait till the day you're going to go. You know, but the testing. We take some chickens over. Poultry is the toughest one, the most expensive. Newcastle test is the most expensive test we do. It costs about $150 per chicken. You know, it's pretty expensive. But in the calves and the sheep, you know, brucellosis, TB, brucellosis and tuberculosis, anaplasmosis sometimes, and so there's a lot goes into moving the animals around. And we want them the same way here. And cleanliness, the USDA, you know, we have to keep things pretty darn clean. I mean, they're animals, and but we clean constantly.
Is liability insurance a major concern?
Oh, lots of liability. We use a local insurance company, the agency. Of course, they broker to a major insurance company, and yeah, there's lots. Then there's something else that I've noticed as we've grown into this business more. The risk isn't any greater, but the liability is greater. You know, it's just, it's kind of, I mean, some people realize it was their fault or their, excuse my term, of stupidity that caused the accident, but still, and one of my very best friends was a lawyer that's passed away, but there's always a lawyer out there ready to grab a case, and so the liability, you have to be insured heavily. I would, that's one of my biggest recommendations to anybody in the agritourism. Be for sure you are insured properly. But yeah, the liability is out there, and we try to do everything we can. We don't want an accident. You know, we don't want. If we have an animal that's undesirable for the public, we won't put him on display, or we sell him to a breeding farm that's not doing any kind of tourism with the public at all. So, yeah, it's ongoing all the time.
How do you deal with waste management?
Waste management for us is a factor, and fortunately though we have two compost piles actually, and that's really worked well for us. And we turn around and put it right back into the soil, then where we're raising, you know, hay or grain for the animals. And yeah, it's the disposal of the waste is ongoing every day. These guys are about 2 months old now. What you doing? What you doing? Ooh, yeah, you feel warm. We got a baby in the pouch over here. We got a hind leg sticking out. You ever touch a kangaroo? You gotta touch them, see how soft they are. People, you know, I saw one someplace he was so big, you know, but see, they'll spend 80% of their time down like this right here. That's how they move around. And when they're like two males are fighting, that's when they get on their tippy toes. And like if this guy was clear up, you know, he'd be up here at our, you know, shoulder chin height. Then see, they're somewhat nocturnal. They do most of their activity at night. That's when they eat. You know, the ranchers hate them in Australia because they eat the grass there for the cattle and the sheep. And even though they're protected in Australia, the ranchers, anytime they can rid any of them, they do. And but they, the daytime, they lay around a lot in the daytime. And like the zebras, you know, I was talking about the kangaroo's birth. These guys, they're born wee hours in the morning, and by the time the sun comes up, that baby zebra can run beside mother just as fast as she can run. Really? And to me, that's survival of the fittest. Yeah. You know, because if they couldn't, they'd be lunch for a lion. You know.
How do you create a corn maze?
We design it all manually. We have not done anything with GPS or computer-generated ideas with that yet. This will be we've just completed our 18th season. And every year, like I said, is a new design. We draw it out on large grid paper, basically, mark out our theme, and then draw our pathways around that, and put it out in the field. When we plant the corn, when it's about a foot tall, we use a lawnmower actually, and just go in and cut out our pathways. So our labor probably starts in June, July. We start planting, taking care of the field. And then during the season, we hire about, besides our family, there's maybe around 20 other employees that help us out mainly on weekends. besides just the corn maze, which is our main attraction, and their pumpkin patch, then we try to add new activities every year. Our new activity we added this year was bazooka ball. And it's a lot like, basically we got a fenced-in arena, and you basically use paintball guns, only you're shooting little Nerf balls. There's obstacles in there to hide behind and stuff, and tunnel to go through. So that was a lot of fun. That was a really neat thing this year. We have corn cannons, pumpkin slingers. Another huge attraction is our jumping pillows. We added 2 of those. We had one, I think 2009 was our first one, and a few years later we added a second one. And then there's lots of little things for young kids to play on. Slides, teeter-totters, tires to climb on. We have a rope maze, which is a lot of fun. So it's more of a brain game. So yeah, lots of different things to do for everybody.
What can we learn from agritourism?
Well, I go back to like the field trips we have where we teach, we get a lot of schools from the Wichita area. They'll drive an hour or more to get here. I'm hoping those kids take that stuff back. I'm hoping those teachers take that information back and expand upon more of that within their school or in their families. If people want to start something like this on their own, go visit a farm. Go see how they're doing stuff. They're all over the place. You're not even just in Kansas. You can go to neighboring states or wherever you're at. There's agritourism of all kinds and sizes. I know pumpkin patches that are pretty small. We're probably a medium, and I know there's some that are pretty large. Everybody does things a little bit differently.
We hope you've enjoyed our look into agritourism, and be sure to support Kansas agricultural producers along with helping to promote such attractions this state has to offer. That wraps up this episode of Real Ag. Remember, you can see every program of this series by going to smokyhillstv.org. On behalf of the Real Ag crew, I'm Kyle Bauer, and this has been Real Ag.
Production of Real Ag is made possible by
the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by farmers.